everyone. Welcome to Saturday, and we are going to be taking a tour today of the Highland Valley. And for those of you who do not know, the Highland Valley is actually located in Escondido. And the first place we are going to go is to our friends. Dwayne is the owner with his wife, and Yvonne is the winemaker. And Yvonne we met through the Espinosas, and he's a phenomenal winemaker. And the cool place about this winery is, as in all of Escondido Highland Valley wineries, you can take picnic there, you can often get a charcuterie plate there. Different wineries offer different things, but for sure you want to check out the views at Speckle Rock. So Philip Fredrickson, what are we having?
Well, we have today a rosé. They make many different varietals, but this was one that we had. And we really like. As Mary Beth said, Yvonne is the winemaker. He's actually was an assistant winemaker down in Valle Guadalupe, Mexico, and that's where they got him from to be the head winemaker here. He does a great job. So this rosé, it's a rosé of, I think it's 65% Grenache or Garnacha and 35% Pinot Meunier. For some of you probably don't know what Pinot Meunier is, but
I don't know.
It's it originates in France, which explains the name, but it does grow up in Oregon, other colder climates, and what it brings to the wine besides the Grenache is a little bit of a floral and fruity aspect to it, so it's really a nice blend. So you need to try this one out.
Smells good.
So just a little bit more about the winery. Dwayne and his wife bought the property actually on my birthday in 1977.
He was born in 58. Don't let him fool you.
That's not when they bought the property. It was December 8, 1977, or like the year I graduated from high school. But anyway, they bought 320 acres, and that was 1977. By 1980, they had planted 5,000 Hass avocado trees and had a nice farming business going there. And unfortunately, what happened in October of 2007 is we had the Witch Creek fire. And that pretty much demolished the property, all the equipment, the trees, at least 2/3 of the trees anyway. And the only thing left was all the speckled rock and boulder granite. And that's kind of where it came from. So they decided instead of replanting trees, they would move into wines because it's such a great area up there. So they developed the winery. They now have 23 acres planted. They're trying to plant more every year to get up to about 40 acres, where they intend to manufacture about 4,000 cases a year once they get to 40 acres. So great gang, Speckle Rock Winery and Vineyards, DG Cellars. That's actually Dwayne and his son Greg have that cellars, and so they work together and create some wonderful wines.
And see how the S and the R create a heart? So we love these guys. Very special.
And the view really is amazing down the valley, where you can see, where they have all that planted down in that area, and down where the wild animal park is and all that. So you really need to check this winery out.
Now, put your seatbelts on, because we're taking a little drive, and we're going to be driving to our friends at Cheval. And Cheval in French means horse, right? And the owner of Cheval is an incredible lover of horses. And our friend Scott totally got us hooked up there. And his husband Jimmy plays there piano and sings. And I think Scott is probably the closest connection to God that I have to ever meet Cher. So, not that, I'm putting that on my bucket list, Scott, that I really am counting on that introduction to Cher, but for anybody who knows me, they know I love Cher. So, we're at Cheval. Didn't take us long to get there, and this winery is stunning. The grounds are breathtaking. The vistas are beautiful. They do line dancing, which they call wine dancing, on Friday nights. They have all kinds of cool activities. It's an indoor-outdoor winery. All of the wines that I haven't mentioned are named after family members, and the rosé is actually named after the owner's mom.
Beverly Rose.
Beverly Rose. And we also have a wine named after her only son, Maverick. So these are the two wines that we're featuring today. And I'm just going to pass this wine over to Philip because,
Thank you very much.
We're kind of in the kitchen in our house, but let's just pretend that we are at Cheval. And as I said, Jimmy plays piano there, and he's so cool and so amazing. You know, the neat thing about all of these wineries, first of all, so many neat things. We haven't been to Temecula since, not that we don't love our friends further north, but we have just found such beautiful, delicious, fantastic venues and friends. I mean, we'll share a little story of what happened this morning with somebody we met at one of the wineries. So Philip, tell us a little bit more about Cheval.
Okay, well, Cheval, it's a beautiful environment. You're gonna love going and just sitting back and relaxing, listening to music, drinking the wines. They make two different champagnes, which sparkling wines, which are very, very good. So it's a lot of fun. This particular rosé that we're having today, Beverly Rose. This is actually a rosé of Pinot Noir. So we've had this many times there. It's really delicious.
That's delicious.
And so we wanted to share this with you. So we've had two rosés. We kind of do like rosé, but it's not going to be rosé all day.
But it is different. Both of them are different. So I love this.
Very good.
And who's the winemaker?
Oh, the winemaker is Duncan Williams. He got started back around in the early 80s up in Napa Valley. He worked actually with Robert Mondavi. And he's really gone out and made a name for himself. And they brought him in as the executive winemaker here. And he makes sure that they produce some really stellar wines.
And also, Cheval has Airbnbs. So if ever you have guests in the area and you want to rent a beautiful, beautiful place out, you could perhaps be lucky enough to find a place at Cheval. And you can walk over and see all the horses. It's so pretty. I love horses so much, and I would love to go riding over there. So Cheval wine is delicious. We love the vibe. We've met great people there. Jimmy and Scott, thank you so much for helping us today. Philip was able to go there and safely get some wine, which we really appreciate because as you know, all the wineries are closed. And one of the things you have to know as far as why are we doing this and what is our purpose is solely to help promote all of our people, our wineries. Going to talk about a couple other things shortly that we're going to be sharing in a couple minutes. So now, where are we headed?
Well, we are going to head away from Harmony Grove area. It's a very rural, beautiful place there. And we are going to head back up the slopes to Highland Valley. And we are going to Highland Valley Vineyards.
Okay. So, hang on a second. Well, we just get in the car, buckle our seatbelts, and take that ride. Just take a second to do that. What's everybody doing today? Is everybody having a great day? So I am cruising over to Highland Valley. All right. We're just going to get ourselves situated over here. Oh, a little bit close to the camera.
Sorry for the bumpy ride. It is a windy road.
A little bit more my way. There you go. All right, I just have to adjust the camera just a second here. Just over this way a little bit.
There?
Okay. All right, so Highland Valley Winery. So Highland Valley is the area, the region, if you will. It's kind of like Stag's Leap. Stag's Leap is a region within Napa, but within Napa at Stag's Leap, there's also Stag's Leap Winery. So tell us a little bit about what we're going to have here.
Okay, well, Ray and Janine are the owners. Interestingly, they got started in winemaking. They have a home in Rancho Bernardo, and they started this whole thing by way of landscaping. They had this landscaping idea that it would be really pretty to have some grapevines on the side of the house. So they went up to Sonoma and they bought 10 vines of Zinfandel. And they brought it home, planted it, and then after a while they're like, somebody asked them what they're going to do with the grapes, and they decided, well, let's try making wine. So they kind of fiddled around with it, little home business, and turned out they had some accolades and some little awards on their wines. And in 2007, they ended up buying their property up in Highland Valley, just up the hill next to Espinosa. and they started planting in 2009. And so now they grow a lot of their grapes, they source some of their grapes, and have won tons of awards on their wines. Today we're going to be drinking a Barbera. This was actually a double gold winner at the event Toast on the Coast. So this is a great, great wine, so we're going to share that one. But they also make several other varietals. This Merlot is fantastic. The Merlot was the grapes were sourced from Paso Robles. This is kind of their flagship here, the Craftsman Cuvée. And that's a Bordeaux style with pretty much almost all the Bordeaux style grapes are in that one. So you're going to really enjoy that one as well. So we were able to swing by and pick those up as well the other day. So Ray and Janine, we really appreciate it. And enjoy.
So now we have another little special thing. I'm actually going to slide the table over this way or that way. I don't care which way we take it. Okay. So, see this beautiful ballerina right here? So, Khalid Alkaaby is on the newsfeed. I see him. And Khalid Alkaaby, I always call him Alkaaby, he fled Iraq several years ago. And when he came to San Diego, I was fortunate enough to meet him very, very soon after he arrived. And I helped him with some of his marketing, and I helped him do a few art shows. And if you could just move that back just a little so everybody could see the painting better. Thank you. And I'm going to get out of the way. I just want you to be able to see her. So Alkaaby painted this painting, and usually I would name something like this immediately. And it's so weird. I never named her. I always thought about it, and I always, wondered what I should name her. And today I called Alkaaby and I said, I just checked on him. How's he doing? An artist. And we all know our musicians and our artists have no place to earn money right now and show their craft and do their music and do their art. So I was just checking out. So somebody was calling. I don't know if you guys could still see us, but I wasn't sure. So anyway, he and I got to talking, and I asked him, what were you thinking when you painted this? And in this conversation, he grew up in how many wars in Iraq? How many? So many wars. So he likens what we're going through right now sort of in that regard, how to get our food and how we're living, but with optimism and hope. So when he painted this painting, and today he shared this, and I think this is one of his favorite paintings, and I'm so, so grateful that it hangs in like such a special spot in our house. He kept saying the word hope. When I was painting her, I just had so much hope. I was having a transition in my life, and I felt hopeful. And both of us said, her name is Hope. So welcome, Hope. So I just think she's so beautiful, and I think it's kind of ironic and sentimental and phenomenal that today is the day she got her name. So Khalid Alkaaby, you know how much I love you. Continue doing what you do. And he said that this is nothing more for him than an opportunity to quiet his mind, to meditate, to learn new things, and to see what is going to evolve from his art on the other end. So he will continue to remain safe and healthy. And now we're going to make a pit stop. So we're going to head on over to Espinosa Winery, which really is just walking down the vineyard from Highland Valley Winery, which we just were at. And you can walk right down the row and you can get right to Roberto and Noel's Espinosa Winery. But before we do, we're going to make a stop. Because as I said, we're promoting all of our artists, all of our friends, all of our small business owners. And one of the things today that I want you to know is I'm wearing a Jennifer Grace kimono. This kimono you can wear multiple ways. Today I have the pockets tied. Jennifer Grace sells her kimonos on West Lewis at Chateau Bel Age. And I was getting ready, which by the way, it's the second time I've been dressed up in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I have on earrings from Chateau Bel Age, my necklace is from Chateau Bel Age, my bracelets are from Chateau Bel Age, and I didn't do that on purpose, it was just how it happened. So today I'm wearing the kimono. Again, these are just super comfortable. They're 100% washable. You can roll them up in a ball, throw them in a suitcase. You can throw them over a pair of jeans. You could throw them over a pair of leggings. And you can make the sleeves disappear behind your back by tying them. So anyway, now we're heading to our friends. We talk about these people all the time. Everybody knows that the Espinosas are our second family. Tomorrow we would be spending Easter with them if it wasn't for them being in Spain and leaving us for 6 months. And they are safe over there, completely on quarantine. And we were hoping that we could get them today to zoom in, but it's 1:30 in the morning there, and I think they're being slackers. So, okay, head on over to Espinosa. Okay.
Good.
Here comes my cameraman. So, Espinosa Winery. Roberto and Noel are biochemists, and they also were on the team that invented and created Botox. So we always say that when you drink the wine, it makes your wrinkles go away. If only that were true. But because Roberto and Noel are biochemists, they take a different approach of how they make wine. You notice that we have a heck of a lot of their wine. We actually helped bottle this bottle right here. It's not even labeled yet, and they would not sell it without a label, just so you know. But we bottled this on Christmas morning, this past Christmas morning at 9 a.m. because it was in the tank. They were leaving in 48 hours to go to Spain for 6 months, and they needed help. And Philip and I were like, we can do it. We're really cool and fast on the bottling machine. So you'll notice a couple different things about the wines, but Filippo Fredrickson,
Well, you know, we've got quite a few wines, like she said. Like the first bottle over here, maybe you can pick that up. That is also a Rosado. They call it a Rosado instead of Rosé because they have Spanish varietals for the most part. That's a Garnacha, so it's a Rosé of Garnacha. And that was actually a 2016 bottle that in 2017 on February 14, we went to their house and had a really cool special dinner for Valentine's Day in the wine cave. And they gave each of us that attended a bottle of that rosé, handwritten because there wasn't any labels done on them yet as well. Then Mary Beth mentioned the other one we just bottled, that's a 2020. This Zinfandel is one that they have, and it's one of Noel's favorite, and I think it's so hot. It's that's got 14.9% alcohol, so it's like a heavy hitter. So that's a really good one. This one's the Tempranillo, which is really amazing. This is on their estate. When they first got their property, again, back in just after the Witch Creek fires, they actually came to the property to help their parents, who owned the property, rebuild. And Roberto had been doing a little research on the property and found that they've been growing grapes up in Highland Valley for over 100 years. And so they thought it'd be kind of cool and could help sell the property because they had a mind to rebuild and sell. Let's plant some vineyards. So in the front corner of the property, they planted a bunch of Tempranillo vines. And once they had grown, they hadn't sold the house yet and trying to figure out what they were going to do. And he decided to try to make some wines and found out he was actually really good at it. So that's the oldest vines they have on the property, but they've got 5 acres that they have on the property. They also control, I think on a lease basis, about 5 other acres in Highland Valley. And then they source some grapes. So for instance, this Pinot Noir, this is a bottle, actually we got this for a birthday. And this is Santa Lucia Highlands, where the grapes come from. And I'm telling you, that's some of the best Pinot, like up in Melville wines, it comes from there as well. In fact, the same vineyard. Falangina, you may or may not have heard of this one, or you might have and you just forgot, because it's actually the forgotten grape, Falangina. So you probably might not have even heard of it. But that's a really rich, different type of a white varietal than probably most of you have had.
And Speckle Rock actually just launched one of their Falanginas. So don't forget, all these wineries you can order and do safe curbside pickup or they can ship, or I think Cheval even is delivering within the Escondido perimeter. So really good opportunities to, a lot of people are enjoying wine right now. And I think it's a great opportunity to support all of our local wineries.
So finishing off on what we have here, the Merlot comes from Paso Robles. This is really a beautiful, big Merlot. So even if you've seen Sideways, you're really going to like this Merlot. Then the next one we have here, this is actually one you don't see too often there. It was a limited supply, which they gave us a bottle, which is their Petite Syrah. Excellent, locally grown. And then the one we're going to be drinking today.
It has a big story.
It has a big story. I'll let Mary Beth tell you that part. But this is actually a 2016, and it's considered to be a Bordeaux blend because the two grapes that are in it, 65% Cabernet and 35% Malbec, are both Bordeaux style grapes. And so the term, since it is Bordeaux style, they named it Rouge, unlike most. They did a Spanish varietal that they called Tinto, but this one's the Rouge, and honestly, this is one of the best wines that's come out of the winery, although they're all fantastic. So Mary Beth can give you a little backstory on that.
Well, I'm not sure Roberto will.
We should drink a little while we're talking
taste
about it, though.
I'm going to need a little bit of courage. Okay, so what's this one's nickname?
The Red-Headed Red. That's kind of an inside nickname. I wouldn't call that a nickname amongst a lot of people.
So, but because Roberto and Noelle chose not to be on Zoom today, we can pretty much say whatever we want. But we're telling the truth. So, about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5, I don't know. It was late at night, and I got to be Lucy. I got to literally stomp grapes. And I took this job so seriously. First of all, Roberto hosed me off and made sure I was completely sterilized. And I went into, you know, these are the grapes that are just off the vine. They're really warm, weirdly. It's way before they go through lots of other processes.
It's the fermentation going on that makes them warm.
So I got to stomp the Cabernet that's in this wine. And it was, like I said, I'm really in there, I'm focused, I am diligently making sure I'm doing my job, and everyone else is drinking and laughing at me. I think I'm like, oh, I can't miss a spot. Yeah, they were laughing with me, ha 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 ha. I think I was in there 2.5 hours stomping grapes, and definitely had purple legs for a few days. But that is kind of a fun story. And then we totally bottled this. I think we bottled 5,300 bottles of this in one day. So typically...
That's the number we're sticking to. I'm not 100% sure about the number, but it was a lot.
It was a lot, yeah. I think it was 53. It was the most, 5,300, and I think it's the most we've ever bottled in a day. So they have a 6-gasket bottling machine, and I'll post a video of what that looks like. So I typically am the one on the machine. Philip is usually the one that delivers the glass, which is the bottles. And then Noelle,
the heavy lifting part.
Noelle, bless her heart, she's corking or screw top capping. Although this past Christmas morning, Philip was doing this, and we'd never used the screw top before.
Yeah, this was the first time.
Yeah,
I think.
and it was really a challenge. Like at one point, because you're in such a zone, like you are zoning, and you have to put this metal thing on, and then it goes under this machine, and that machine is nasty. Like it has teeth that crip it. One time, there were just a couple little whoopsies.
Yeah.
But when there's a whoopsie, everything stops, everything gets reorganized, everything gets cleaned. But my job has never been anything but putting the glass on the gaskets and filling the bottles. But once it's bottled, then it's uncorked, then it goes into the boxes, and then the boxes have to go on a pallet, and that has to be done particularly. And then all of that has to then eventually get labeled. So, I mean, there's such a process. You think about somebody's charging $30 or $50 for a bottle of wine. There's a huge reason why the wines, cost, I can't get this without doing it that way, the cost as much as they did. So we love being able to support our local friends. Again, my kimono is from Jennifer Grace Designed It. She sells them at Chateau Bel Age, which is where Valerie and Jimmy are, and so great place to shop.
And my shirt comes from one of the Eagles, Don Henley. So this is a signature Don Henley.
I love that. Very funny.
Very good. Man, that's good.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's rare that we bust
Did you
one of
switch
these.
glasses with me?
I might have.
I think you must have.
I might have. So it's rare that we do that. But a couple of things we want to tell you about. So one of them is next Saturday, we are going to do Ramona wineries. So Ramona wineries will include Old Julian Winery, Grant James Winery, Chuparosa, and
not sure. Maybe Cohill.
Oh,
Could be Mike Cohill.
We love Mike Cohill.
Yeah.
So we have 4 wineries next Saturday at 4:30 that we are going to tour, and hopefully we can tour outside as opposed to inside. And keep in mind, when you go to any of the wineries, most of them allow you to bring food. So pack a really fun picnic. You're going to meet great people. Elena and Regina, we met there. Debbie and Alan. Alan is a musician as well, like we mentioned.
Fantastic musician.
Jimmy's a musician that plays often at Cheval, and Alan Iglesias, he plays at many of the wineries. And one of the stories I was going to tell you is today, our doorbell rang, and from the window there was a wave, and in a little bag were 2 face masks. They're called the Love Mask. And Debbie, the wife of Alan, made them for us and dropped them at our door. So that was super, super sweet. And these are people that you meet and they become part of your life and your friends and family forever. So we're very, very fortunate.
And by the way, the wineries that we've chosen, obviously like Paso Robles, we picked 4. And they aren't necessarily rated the highest or the best, although they could be. There's so many more to explore, but I think if you go to the ones we just said, you're going to want to go to all of them.
Yep.
There's so many more, both in Highland Valley. I think there's 8 or 9 there. There's lots of urban wineries we're going to hit here in Escondido. And then Ramona has a ton of wineries, very good wines up there as well. So that's where we've been hanging out really the last 4 or 5 years. And we do this because we want to help our friends and family, but we also do it because we're passionate about it.
Right.
We love wine and we love the whole experience.
Right. So a little recap. We went to Speckle Rock today. We went to Cheval, which is over near
Harmony Grove.
Mm-hmm. Then we went over to Highland Valley, and Bandy Canyon is where that winery is located, Highland Valley Winery, and it sits up on a hill, and just down the hill through the vineyard is Espinosa Winery. So we went there, and we also did an art exhibit today with Alkaaby's beautiful Ballerina, and her name is officially Hope. And then lastly, we want to share with you that on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I say that because this is open to anyone, and I posted this on my Facebook page, the No in San Diego Facebook page, and I've texted people and back messaged people with the Zoom link. We are going to have Dr. Ken Druck on our Zoom 2 o'clock call, and Ken is going to be discussing, Ken was the mental health expert that was called to New York City at Ground Zero for the families of 9/11. He was at Sandy Hook for the families of the shooting victims. He was at Columbine for those families that lost all their loved ones. He is diligently working as we speak on protocol on how to mourn the loss of a loved one virtually. He's helping children cope with not being able to see their friends, during the school year and having to be homeschooled by their parents. Ooh, crazy.
Scary.
He's helping people who might be going through a divorce and having custody issues and having to transfer kids back and forth. He's helping, so many people who have lost their jobs and don't know where their next dollar is going to come from. He's helping people that are in abusive relationships that are quarantined with their abuser. He's helping people that are losing their businesses and don't know what to do about that. He's helping, I'm trying to think, just all these. The whole thing is about hope. Again, hope comes up. And so it's going to be a forum where you can actually chat in questions, or if you want to message me with a question that you want Dr. Ken Druck to answer, you can absolutely do that. But I think it's a great opportunity to help all of us figure out how we're going to come out of this and be a better version of ourselves and go through what we're going through. And as I was just listening a few minutes ago, Facebook Live from 4 to 5 every single day, and today's day 22. We had to jump off to come over here to the winery. Randy Driscoll, who I met through the Jenna Druck Foundation, she is just amazing, and she was just talking. She lives in Nashville, and you know, Nashville got hit with that horrific tornado, and then this happened. So there are people there that are homeless that we're starting to rebuild that don't even have a shelter. And now they're having to cope with, COVID-19. So again, we're going to stay physically distant while being socially connected virtually. So
well, one more thing I want to mention because I forgot, and it's in the spirit of people doing things to help other people. Ray and Janine up at
right.
Highland Valley Vineyards, 20% of the proceeds of all sales of their wine this month are going to the San Diego Food Bank. To help those who are, not having enough money to buy food and things. So I think that's pretty awesome.
So here's to all of you. May you have a glass of water, a glass of soda, a glass of wine, a glass of spirits, or just a glass.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Have a great day.
I'll walk over and shut this thing off.
Okay.